What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Fright Night on Rifts to Core Hall. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Rifts to Core Hall is the map where we have to destroy 10 void shards before timer runs out. Each set of void shards we destroy adds time and reveals the next set. Civilians take candy from a bowl in your base. If you don't buy enough candy, they turn into enemies. Vision is also reduced to a small circle at the center of your screen.
Alright, we have Edwinholm and Joni in the call with us today. How are you guys?
Doing well?
Alright.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Alright. Joni, how do you rank the commanders this week?
So, it's not really a mutation this week. It is a not brutal plus, and that's totally correct. You've basically got two admin tasks to be doing whilst playing the map like completely normally with almost everyone. Afraid of the dark, it's a nuisance, and you do have to be aware of stuff, and it can be a bit of an APM check in terms of the more mobile you can be with your camera, the better. But like fundamentally doesn't affect how the commanders play. And trick or treat sort of is more of a working memory check than anything else. So I have effectively looked at how good the commanders are on this map, and then compensated for any minor inconveniences.
Okay. What do you think, Edwinholm?
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward one. It's just, can you remember to click on a button every few minutes and be looking at your army when you're actually doing stuff? This is a map where there's only really one angle you're worrying about at any given time, so Afraid of the Dark's really not much of a problem. So, pretty straightforward.
I would like to add one thing. For Trick or Treat, you don't even have to look every few minutes. You just have to look between 6 and 10 minutes. That's when enemies transform into stronger units. After 10 minutes, just put a couple of static defense in your base. It's cheaper than buying candy. And it works just fine. They don't transform into stronger units. Anyway, let's begin. Abathur, what do we have him?
Abathur is very strong this week. He has lots of extra minerals, so if you do need the candy, it's completely fine. And then Brutalis and other Ultimate Evolutions, Leviathans are very good at pushing through with any combination of units behind them, so extremely strong. You can drop like a Toxic Nest right next to the Void Rifts, and then look where the Void Shards. No, wait, Rifts was right the first time. Whatever it was, whatever they're called. You can drop a Toxic Nest right next to them and then look away, and the Toxic Nest provides vision, so you can go macro or whatever while your units are clearing those out. So that's very handy as well. So yeah, he's very easy, very straightforward S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Joni?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what ET said. I have a slightly different ranking, only because I suspect I've ranked this slightly differently, in the sense there are some commanders for whom this map is essentially free. So I had Abathur in A tier, but again, only because I suspect I've structured my rankings slightly differently. So I suppose I don't necessarily want to challenge the S tier, because I completely appreciate where ET's coming from, and Abathur is incredibly strong this week. I suppose I would probably put the question to ET in terms of, do you think Abathur is as free on this map as some commanders?
I think there's a couple double S's. No, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, okay, fair one. Yeah, okay, if we're going to play that game, then that's, yeah, fine. Okay, I'm happy with S tier then.
All right. What particular strategy do you guys recommend?
Just Ultimate Evolutions and punch through and make whatever you want behind that. You can do Swarm Hosts, you could do Guardians, I think is what I did. Pretty much anything you want. A couple Vipers is pretty good as always, so.
Okay.
Yeah, there is also the sort of strategy of putting all of your biomass into Devourers. I think playing P1 and using 200 biomass Devourers. I think, is it 7 of them? I think you need. But they basically don't die.
6,
once
7,
they get to full biomass. Yeah. So no, that is effective as well, and it basically enables Abathur to effectively snipe shards from distance as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was about to say, but since you said it, I don't need to say it anymore. So anyway, Abathur goes S tier. Prestige, actually any prestige except the third one? You can even do the third one, it'll still probably work, but if you want to just take the win, probably use a different one, right? Alright, Alarak, where do we have him?
So Alarak is also pretty strong this week. You do need to be looking at him, but the advantage you've got with him in terms of having like a highly mobile death ball, is that you only do need to look at your death ball, using mass teleportation on the mothership, like pops and pylons. Once you've busted the second group of void shards, pops and pylons.
You must construct additional pylons.
Near where the enemy waves come through, so that you can use overcharge when you need to, but also you can just transport the mothership and the death ball back there as well. So I mean this week is pretty straightforward with Alarak. I think realistically, like any combination works with him. Probably be inclined to go like mash destroyers with with some supplicants, etc., to support Alarak himself. Wrathwalker's extremely good against the shards themselves. So yeah, sort of pick your Alarak. But if I'm adjusting my scaling system to match ETs, I had Alarak in S tier as well.
Okay, what do you think, Edmund?
Yeah, I mean, just Mothership, Mass Destroyer usually works pretty well, or Ascendants, or really anything you want, Wrathwalkers. Yeah, it's a pretty easy, straightforward week again. So, Alarak hurts slightly more than Abathur because he has a lot more mineral dense units than Abathur does, but I still don't think it's going to matter. So, yeah, I had him in S tier.
Okay, Alarak S tier. Prestige-wise, third one, right?
Yeah.
All right. Arcturus, double S. Move on. Okay, no. Where do you have him?
Yeah, I mean, Arcturus is literally just beat the map in 10 minutes, use ESOs, easy peasy. I mean, we don't technically say double S yet, but S tier.
Okay, what do you think, Joni?
Yeah, there's not a huge amount to say really. I think the only kind of things that personally I would suggest is P3 instead of P1, purely because then if you are for whatever bizarre reason you want to wreck the map even faster, then use the nuclear strike sort of option for him. And exactly like you said, CTG, right at the start, like ring bunkers around the candy bowl and you literally just get to ignore it. So I've got him in S/double S tier as well.
Yeah. Also, you don't even need to ring it in bunkers. 2 bunkers are enough. With a guy or 2 repairing, you don't need to. That's how weak the enemies actually are. 2 bunkers, even 1 bunker with repairs enough.
You've got to do something. You've got to do something with your time. Otherwise, you just go and make a cup of tea.
Yeah, you win. Okay. Moving on. Artanis, where do we have him?
So it does have decent tools for this map. Tempests are extremely strong against the shards, etc. Space Archons are pretty handy. You will at points have to like push in with Artanis, even if it is over over some walls, etc. So he does have, I would say, compared to the commanders that we've already placed, he does have like less of an easy time on this. He's also more of a sort of very significant army commander. I appreciating that we've got Alarak up there as well, but he needs significant sort of critical mass to get going. So sort of the economic effects of like trick or treat are going to be like more of a nuisance to him. Having said that, like again, it is a bit of a kind of a bit of a free week this week, so it is a bit of a pick your poison between. I would suggest sort of P3 pushing in with Space Archons, using solar bombardment when when it's off cooldown and when you can to take out a shard, and then sort of mopping up with whatever you want, but probably Mass Dragoons or Tempest as normal. So I've got Artanis in A tier.
Okay, what do you think, Edmund?
Yeah, this week he's kind of just Alarak, but without a mom. So it's not quite as good, but still pretty good. So yeah, I had him in A tier.
Orphan Alarak. That's what he is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Third prestige. Moving on. Dehaka. Where do we have him?
Speaking of another very, very, very good commander here, Dehaka has the particularly nice effect of pack leaders just aren't affected by Afraid of the Dark at all. So it's literally the mutator does not even come into play, especially with like P2 where you're just popping them constantly. So he's S for now.
He's very S indeed. What do you think, Joni?
Yeah, totally agreed. Like when you're using creeper hosts, which you will for this, you are floating so many minerals that actually you don't need to worry about the candy bowl. You just keep topping it up to 50, and you're off to the races. So like ET said, sort of S tier. Completely agreed. Probably play P2.
Okay, probably pay second prestige. That's what it is. Yeah, S tier. Moving on. Phoenix, where do we have him?
Yeah, so Phoenix is doing pretty well this week as well. I think very similar to Alarak, really. Very, very significant pushing power. He's not massively concerned about the sort of quasi-economic effects of Trick or Treat either, because the reality to it is you're going to use probably P2 and looking at Death Ball champions. So the reality is the army behind it doesn't need to build up quite as quickly, and it's pretty economically viable anyhow. So yeah. I was trying to figure out whether there was any reason Phoenix would not be S tier, basically, but I personally couldn't think of anything. I'm in S tier too.
Okay. What do you think, Ippenhome?
He's very good. I had him in A tier, but I'm fine with S. It's just there is a lot of S, but I think it's just that kind of weak. So I guess S tier is fine.
Like a green bar across his eye or something. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who sees this. He looks cursed.
The camera's bugging out.
Oh, there we go.
Back now for me at least. Yeah.
All right.
Is my camera bugging out or?
Perhaps.
It was. It's fixed now.
Yeah.
I think you're good. Yeah, I'd say S tier is fine.
Maybe it's actually revealing that you're actually a robot or something. You're an AI.
Oh no.
I have AI guests now.
More people to do these tier lists. Even the AI misses his appointments sometimes.
Okay. Phoenix is A tier. A tier, right? Or S?
S.
Okay, S.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. Han and Horner. Where do we have them?
Han and Horner does like minerals, as it turns out, and they're not as strong just by default as most of the other commanders, but it's, again, a very easy week, so, I still had them doing decently well. Strike fighters are good, so I had them in B tier.
B tier. What do you think, Joni?
Yeah, they are just not as good of a commander as some. So they do have a lot of tools for this, to be fair. Like mag mines help significantly defending the sort of enemy wave passage that they come through, and like ET said, strike fighters are good. I suspect there may be an inclination here to play P3, basically just mass strike fighter platforms at home, and sort of deal with it that way. I think equally you could get away with doing it with sort of P1 or 2. But like ET said, there are economic sort of issues that they may encounter more than anyone else. So yeah, I'm totally happy with B tier.
Okay. 3 notes with Hot and Horner. First one is if you get an air comp, a pure air wave will not go through that ground bridge between where they land and the second shard area. So you'll need to be aware of what the enemy comp is. If it's air, you need to camp basically the area, the air passage through. Second note, the mag mines I don't think will trigger in Afraid of the Dark. You have to be looking. They have to see the enemy to actually detonate at them. That's what I recall. If I'm wrong, someone in the chat in the comments will surely correct me. And number 3, I believe you can still use airstrikes even in Afraid of the Dark. They will still deal damage and the fire damage. That's pretty neat. So that being said, it's probably still B tier. which is fine. B is not bad. B is in fact fine, good even.
The other note with the bombing platforms is, you're targeting them somewhat blind comparatively, most likely. Like
Sort
you don't
of,
know where the
yeah.
enemy attack wave is. The shards don't move, so if you know where they are, that's great. But like you don't get the little indicator on the mini map.
Very sad.
If you don't have vision.
Yeah, you
So-
do. You do get the minimap indicator for the shards.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe after you see them the first time, I feel like you don't. Oh no, you're right. There's the little red dot, but you don't get the big indicator. So yeah, that's true. So that won't be too bad. But yeah, I think they do still do damage regardless of vision. So.
What you should have said is, if the enemy is Tehran, the bunkers will shoot down your airstrikers. That will happen.
There's that too.
Yeah.
I would say probably not P3 just because this is a short map. So I question whether or not you're actually going to get more than 10 strike fighter platforms regardless.
Yes. Anyway, still B tier. Again, B is not bad. B is fine. B is good even. Moving on. Karax, where do we have him?
So Karax is another extremely strong commander this week. For my money, you basically want to play P3 and effectively completely ignore the enemy encampments and literally just go for shard sniping using observers and put up a load of static at home. And then you basically, as long as you've got all of your sort of means of egress covered by static, which you've got like more than enough opportunity to get done, then you really shouldn't have any problems. You are going to be using impassable terrain by and large on this one. You are going to be able to like look at your static emplacements when the enemy waves hit it. So I really don't see Karax having any dramas at all this week. I've got him in S tier.
No drama for Karax. He's chilling. What do you think, Edwin?
Yeah, it's a pretty easy week for Karax. I think you could even go P2 and just go mass army because it's a little bit better for pushing, and then the top bars you can defend at home with if you don't happen to have units available. But you can really go P1, P2, or P3. Probably really P2 or P3. P1 obviously a little more defensive, but it's a very easy week for him. So I had him in S tier.
S tier. Okay. Prestige wise, third one, or you can actually use as Edwin Hum said, you can use any one you want. Moving on, Kerrigan. Where do we have him?
Kerrigan is pretty good. She is not quite up there with the rest, but Omega Worms are great for getting around to deal with the attack waves if you're not there. And then Kerrigan herself can basically solo the map with the mobilization wave and Omega Worms hopping in and out to heal. And you can make army on top of that. Oh my goodness. But obviously, if you're just relying on Kerrigan, then you have plenty of minerals for the candy bowl. So it's very straightforward. She's not quite like Kerrigan herself is not remotely equivalent to a mothership from Alarak or anything, I would say. So I had her in A tier.
Yeah, Kerrigan's not very motherly. What do you think though, Joni?
Yeah, I rated her a bit higher actually, just because there's loads of if you were playing a human, there's loads of things you could do that would be incredibly annoying, like sneaking a broodlord over some of the walls and stuff to get you vision to pop Omega Worms and to allow you to like ignore a couple of the enemy encampments and basically sort of sneak through the back door on the third and fourth encampments. So yeah, I do think she's got plenty of tools. I think immobilization wave sort of leaping into the middle of one of the shard areas and popping a mobilization wave is incredibly strong. So I do think that she's got a really decent toolkit. Having said that, she's probably going to be slightly more like micro intensive to play than some of the commanders. So I'm very happy with her in A tier.
Okay, so Kerrigan does land in A tier, so that's where she ends up being. Prestige wise, anyone?
Probably 0, I think, for my money.
0.
No
the
prestige.
extra mobility is nice, even on top of the Omega Worms. So, and obviously you don't want P2 for bad immobilization wave. So,
okay, moving on. Nova, where do we have him?
So as we know, like Nova's Liberators are incredibly strong against the shards themselves, which is a massive bonus. personally, I'd be inclined to play P3 on this just because it enables you to go in and do a bit of like pre-clearing. Nova's nuke, again, really effective at just sort of significantly thinning out enemies in the shard areas. Um, she is going to have the issue here of having to like move everyone around at the same time. Basically, you sort of will have probably one ball of stuff potentially with some tanks camped, camping spider mines in the passage. But again, if an air comp rolls, you are going to need to chuck some stuff over in that direction anyhow. So she is very strong. She does deal with this map really effectively. But I think that actually this is one where the sort of combination of a slight comp dependency and Afraid of the Dark might cause you just a few more issues than some. So I had her in A tier.
A tier. What do you think, Edmund?
Yeah, I think she's very powerful this week because P3 can just clear everything, and then like 2 Liberators kills the Void Shards in no time flat, basically. And then you just defend at home with the rest of your army. Spider Mines camping, very good, obviously. And Ravens spam down any air comps. So I had her in S tier, actually. I think she's very good this week.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Joni?
You know what? I'm sort of happy with that. I only tried Nova once on this, and I'm sort of not the most imaginative of Nova players, so I can certainly see like what ET's saying and why he's done some stuff that I didn't think of, to be honest. So yeah, I'm super happy with S tier.
Okay. What prestige? Third one or first one?
You can
Okay,
do
so-
either technically, but I'd prefer third because you can just skip like half of the enemy encampments that way pretty easily.
I mean, you can do the same
agreed.
with first prestige. You just skip everything with Liberators. But
That's
okay.
true, but then there's air units that can be a bit of annoyance. But yeah, you can.
Okay. Either way, Nova is S tier. Moving on. Raynor, where do we have him?
Raynor likes minerals, and so that hurts a little bit. But again, it's not that expensive, and you can just build a couple bunkers with Raynor and be fine, especially past the 10-minute mark. So I think he's not going to hurt too terribly badly, but again, he's just not that great. So I had him in B tier.
B tier. What do you think, Joni?
Yeah, he does like minerals. The advantage he's got is obviously mules that can sort of square you away on that front significantly. But again, I feel bad about doing Raynor sort of dirty on this because he is. I think he's sort of very much in the same boat as Han and Horner, really, in the sense that he doesn't have any. This mutation doesn't throw up any like game-breaking problems for him. He's just not great. So yeah, I had him in B tier as well.
B tier. Raynor ends up in B tier. Prestige wise, third one?
I think probably third one, or I mean 0 presumably would be absolutely fine as well.
Okay. Raynor ends up in B tier. Stet boy, where do we have him?
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose it's slightly reductive to say that Stetmann plays completely normally, because everyone plays completely normally. But Stetmann sort of really does play completely normally, and also doesn't care. Like the Stetalites produce a minuscule amount of vision, which is quite useful, just to give you a bit of like enhancement with the sort of nuisance that is Afraid of the Dark. He's not particularly sort of mineral dependent, so that's always handy. Gary obviously is able to move around extremely quickly as well. So, you know, if for whatever reason you do need him to be in 2 places at the same time, he basically can be. Comp-wise, you can pretty much do anything you like here. Corruptors are not often used, certainly by myself when playing Stetmann, but at the same time, they are good against rifts. Against shards, so that's worth bearing in mind. But yeah, in general terms, like P2, do what you normally do and win.
What do you think, Edmund Home?
Yeah, simple week for Stetmann because yeah, you can just you have your Statalites over on the right side. You can recall to those to deal with any attack waves like that, and then you can recall back over if you need to, or just run back over with Blue Zone. So it's very straightforward, very easy, and yeah, S tier.
S tier. Second prestige. Moving on. Stukov, where do we have him?
Stukov is very good as well. You just get set up and go once you have your bunkers out, or you could really go P1 here as well. P1, I think, hits strength a little bit quicker, and this is a short map, so I would probably go P1 personally, but I know people love P3, so that's an option. Once you get those out, you just have to be looking at the right spot so those mass flow of infested Marines can actually see things, and it's easy peasy, so I had him in S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Joni?
Yeah, totally agreed. He's got plenty of options this week. I similar to ET, I prefer playing P1. I suspect I just don't do it quite as well. But the reality is there are still going to be plenty of people playing P3 and just sort of playing a point and click adventure rather than a strategy game. But there you go. But yeah, I just he doesn't have any problems. You build up a critical mass and you're off to the races, aren't you? So yeah, I had him in S tier as well.
Okay. Does the Alexander still steal the vision of the units it mind controls? It did before.
I think so.
Yeah, so that's another way you can just outright counter the mutation. You get vision when you mind control things with the Alexander. Do you also get extra vision when you use the ocular symbiote from the Queens?
I don't think so. I don't remember. It doesn't come up on this mutation. Like all you're doing is looking where you need to look, basically.
Or most people don't even bother with Brood Queens because they just win regularly. Anyway, still S tier. First prestige or third prestige, you're fine either way. Moving on, Swann. Where do we have him?
Swann is also very good on this. My personal recommendation would be play P1. Slow laser drill with floating factories. At the same time, frankly, any of the other prestiges are very viable. I could absolutely see like P0 on this map is extremely entertaining because the wave timings coincide directly with the cooldown timings for concentrated beam. It's a bit more of a nuisance this week because obviously you don't see the waves on the minimap. But at the same time, you basically don't need to worry about enemy waves if you know where they are at any given time with concentrated beam on this. So P0 is also pretty powerful. But my sort of suggestion and preference on this would be use P1, play floating factories, put up a load of static at home, look at that when you're not looking at shards and win. So I've got him in S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Edmund?
Yeah, pretty straightforward week. Cannons, turrets, good. So not too hard. Laser drill also pretty nice. Yeah, I think you can go for really pretty much any strategy. Heck, even mass Hercules tank would probably be completely fine here if you want to do that one. So S tier.
S tier. Swann S tier. Prestige wise, any prestige? Oh, sorry. Any prestige?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go for the Hercules one, then P3 would work. But I'd probably say you want P1 or P2.
Okay. Moving on.
But anyone works.
Anyone works. Tychus, where do we have him?
Tychus, walks right through this mission. Just lone wolf. All you do is look at the one that needs to be looked at the moment, and it's very, very easy because there's nothing that makes his ridiculously powerful mercs any weaker this week. So very, very good. S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Joni?
Yeah, sort of Tychus this week does have the distinct advantage for sort of lower skill players such as myself, whose tiny brains can only concentrate on one bit of the map at any given time. In the sense that is literally exactly how you have to play this map with Tychus P2. So it's kind of like super low IQ strats for winning. Just play P2 and do it completely normally. So I've got him in S tier as well.
S tier. Prestige wise, second one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Tychus, second prestige, S tier. Moving on. Vorazun, where do we have him?
So, I mean, Vorazun certainly doesn't have a mineral problem. She's going to be floating oodles of them as always. She does have a couple of problems in the sense that you have the standard Vorazun sort of air comp issue, and you also have she is one of the commanders where you don't necessarily have to push in through the outlying encampments, because the reality to this is that using air units, whether it is Corsairs or Void Rays, whatever you choose, poke them over walls and then pop time stop with P3, and you've got a load of Dark Templars that will basically run around and just snipe shards. So she is good. There is the standard skill issue around like being economical with those time stops, but the reality is they're on decent cooldowns. By the time you get nearer the end of this map, you will be able to pop 2 time stops per shard area. So the reality to it is she doesn't really have too many dramas, but you are going to have to still maintain like a standing army of some sort to deal with the waves. She does have a bit of a sort of comp dependency, etc. So not as strong as the plethora of S tier commanders that we do have this week. So I've got her in A tier.
A tier. What do you think, Edwin Helm?
I was actually planning on letting Johnny convince me to do S tier, but I guess that's not happening. I mean, she does have the distinct advantage of just Dark Pylon at the Candy Bowl with some cannons, and suddenly the enemy units that spawn can't even see what's killing them, so that's pretty nice. And then, yeah, you just time stop the shards. It's pretty straightforward, so I'll go A tier since I'm not being convinced.
Okay. A note on the time stop thing. You still need to look at what you're whacking with your Dark Templar. So the normal time stop strategy of right-clicking each group of Shadow Guard to a different Void Shard will not work. You need to be looking at the shard while you're attacking it. So that might slow things down even more. Moving on, Zagara. Where do we have him?
Zagara is pretty happy this week as well. The mineral problem is a thing, but I think you can go P3 and just basically purely rely on Zagara for actual clearing, and then just defend at home with your free banelings and whatnot. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. I had her in S tier.
S tier. What do you think, Edwin Helm? Or Joni?
So I had it even easier because I was using P1. So it was just sniping shards with Scourge, and yeah, it's totally free. Basically, she is in my mind S tier. So yeah.
Okay, S tier. Any prestige will work. So Edwin Home said 3rd prestige. Joni said 1st prestige. I'm saying 2nd prestige, and just go Corruptors. Corruptors, 2nd prestige. I literally did that, no problem. Defend with Zagara, and whatever units you want, you can have a few banelings, spore, spine, bile launchers. That'll work. Those will all work. Just right-click the Corruptors. In fact, I don't think we even reached the 14-minute attack wave with Mass Corruptor. They're so cheap, and you can get so many of them so quickly. I don't think we even had to fight the 14-minute wave. So very straightforward. Just right-click the shard.
It's such an unusual one to come up. I had to take a beat to remind myself what P2 actually was.
Oh, sorry. That 1 prestige will make your aberrations and corruptors have extra health. Yeah. Extra health. And cheaper, too. And healing. So they can just eat the shards for breakfast. Very nice.
You'll be recommending a P2 Stukov next.
Well, I have an issue with that prestige that goes beyond just its power level. I loathe how it completely breaks my hotkeys. So even if it were a strong prestige, I still would not recommend it. Anyway, moving on. Zeratul, where do we have him?
So, I mean, yeah, Zeratul is strong as always. I do think there's possibly a shout for playing P3 Zeratul here. You know, he can basically deal with shard areas entirely on his own as P3, and then just use like cannons or whatever at home to defend. Having said that, you know, aforementioned cannons are very good. So if for whatever reason you wanted to drag the map out for longer, then P2 may be more efficient. There is even a shout to be said for playing P1 on this and using the
Super Cloak.
Yeah, using the Super Cloak to clear shard areas. So, I mean, basically any way you cut it, Zeratul is extremely strong this week. So S tier.
All right. What do you think, Epenholm?
Yeah, it's choose your own adventure week for Zeratul, and he's very, very, very strong. So yeah, easy S tier.
Okay. S tier for Zeratul. Okay, do we have a double S?
Yes.
We've got 6 in my mind.
6. Okay,
I
so
mean,
who are they?
I've got Dehaka, because pack leaders just literally shut off the one mutator and then you float minerals anyways.
Dehaka?
Minsk, because you just Earth Splitter and win. Tychus, because you just look at Tychus or Sirius and win. Zeratul, because Cannon's good and Zeratul good. And Stetmann, because mobility, vision, recall. Stepboy can solo this map very easily anyways. And Zagara, because I forgot about Corruptor, so I actually bumped her up to double S. So
Double S. Are you okay
I
with
mean,
those, Joni?
you literally just fly through the map with Corruptors and kill everything. So
I did
Yeah,
just
so-
do that.
So this is I think where mine and ET's tier lists sort of differentiated slightly, because I had I had Dehaka, Arcturus, and Zagara in double S,
Okay.
because I mean they literally don't need to leave like either ESO Island or in Zagara's case just like flying stuff straight from home. So they are, I think, more free than anyone else. I then had, exactly like ET said, sort of Tychus, Zeratul, Stetmann in like one tier below them, because I don't think, although those 3 commanders do play totally normally, I didn't think they were like quite as free as the 3 that just snipe shards. So and I had Karax in that tier as well, actually. But I think, I mean, look, this week is possibly more trivial than any other like brutation that we encounter at all. So
I think I can
sort
think
of-
of at least 2 that are easier. One
Okay,
is
okay.
okay, fine. Okay.
we don't need to litigate this right now. My response to that
I mean, we only had 37 minutes 50 seconds. We have like 22 minutes.
we've got to track it.
For me,
Season
double
two,
S,
I think
because what Johnny said, where he's like, I don't think double S is, do you have to leave your base? Double S is just, is there a, like, do you just play as normal? Stetmann plays as normal. You just walk across the map with Steadilites and Gary, and you win the game. And if you want to make some units at the same time, you can, but it's not required. That's exactly how this map is normally for him, right? Same thing with Zeratul. You can just walk out with Zeratul and then make cannons. And same thing with Tychus. You literally just use 1, maybe 2 mercs, and you win, because this map is just that easy. I do agree, you don't have to leave your base with the other 3 except to just go kill the shards, but I think it's S tier isn't, I mean, I don't know, I could see it, but I do think they're all like, it's literally just what mutation, which is what double S is to me more so.
Okay. So if it's not unanimous, it's not double S. So yeah, are you convinced, Joni, to put Tychus, Zeratul, and Stetboy in double S?
you're putting me on the hot seat now.
Oh yes.
You don't have
I mean,
to. There's
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what ET said, and I mean those 3 commanders, i.e., sort of Tychus, Zeratul, and Stetmann, and I would also include Karax in that, because again, Karax simply does not need to leave home at all, other than with observers. I do think that we should somehow delineate between those commanders and the sort of, Abathurs, Alaraks, Phoenixes, who are going to have, you're going to have to do something. I mean, like, I was genuinely wondering when I played this if you could draw it out for long enough, particularly with Mengsk, as to whether you could actually achieve an average of 0 APM. I like.
How can you
how
average? I bet I
Well,
can
it's-
make a video out of that. Can you beat a co-op mutation solo with a single digit APM? I wonder if it's possible.
Yeah, it's sort of, if you can average that many per minute, that would be. But I mean, with Mengst, I think you possibly could. I don't know, but he's got so much stuff you could do that if you could draw the map out for about 30 minutes, that still gives you sort of 300 actions or fewer. So well, that's an interesting challenge for the likes of Tutu now that soloing stuff has become routine.
Routine.
To me, it sounds like it's time for triple S.
Triple S is reserved
Yeah.
for commanders who make a mutation easier than regular brutal. Not just as easy,
That's fair.
easier than regular brutal. It has
Yeah,
happened
this is-
before.
I mean, it is the case that like Minsk not only makes this like what mutation, but Minsk makes this mission a joke just normally compared to other commanders, right? With
Yes.
ESOs.
But that applies
Yeah.
to regular brutal as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's fine to have just the 3 and double S or all 6, whichever one you want. Obviously, it's a bit of a meme week for these rankings. It's
Sort
it's
of.
just very
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
I think we should put. I don't think any of them are triple S, but I do think we should push. Let's.
I guess the question is, do you think Stetmann, Zeratul, and Tychus are closer to Zagara, Minsk, and Dehaka, or closer to the other people in S?
That's sort of what I was thinking. The only other thing I wondered, and I will suggest this purely in the interests of time, and what I mean is by dragging out the length of the video. It's basically for the sake of arbitrarily like stacking commanders in their appropriate groups. Do we potentially bump everyone down so that we've got like double S, and then have the current swathe of S tiers in A, just in order to provide a bit of delineation? That would be my only suggestion.
That is totally your
Just don't think-
call.
I just don't think it's just such an easy week for everyone in S.
a
Like it
lot,
feels
yeah,
weird
it's
to
a
have them
lot.
in A. You know.
I feel like if I do that, CTG won't invite me back because it's a lot of work as well. Yeah, let's put all 6 of them in double S tier. I'm happy with that. It is pretty free.
Let's go.
All right. With
I
the
would
power of
potentially-
movie magic, we now have 6 commanders in double S tier. Who's top of double S?
I'd say Minsk.
Agreed. Then?
Yeah. Dehaka
Then-
doesn't make it very easy.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Dehaka, just because of pack. I don't understand their reasoning with pack leaders. Like, let's just not make them affected by half of the mutators for no particular reason.
I think
know?
it's because
gonna
they
say-
were directly imported from the campaign and they were bosses in the campaign. And
Yeah, I
the
guess.
cop team didn't bother to change them into player units. They were still map bosses.
Yeah, it's like was it an intentional thing, or did they just not realize that they weren't going to be affected by Fatal Attraction, double-edged, afraid of the
think
dark? Like
it's-
it just didn't occur to them. I don't know.
I think
But,
it's less
yeah,
of
kinda
a
goofy.
didn't realize sort of deal and more of a can't be bothered to go back sort of deal.
Yeah, that's fair. And then Zagara, third place. I'd say Stetmann above Zeratul, but other than that, correct.
That way above Zeratul.
Yeah. you're
I have a
probably
question.
right.
Why are we not including Abathur with the Devour strategy in the double S, considering it's basically Zagara, except you also have toxic nests that do give vision?
You have to get biomass, which is a pain in the butt compared to just making drones and then making corruptors. That was
Alright.
my thought, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
there is at least a minor ramp with him.
yes, that is the correct
I think
answer. Because we
You'd
all
probably
know,
have more trouble winning in 14 minutes with him than you would with the Zagara strategy, like you did. You know.
yeah, we all know that that question would probably pop up in the comments. But I asked it for. I'm so generous. I'm so kind with you guys in the comments. I asked your questions for you.
Benevolent.
Softballing questions in there for us is great.
Okay, who's top of S?
Probably
So,
Abathur.
Karen.
Karax?
Or Karax, yeah. I forget Karax exists. Yeah, Karax, then Abathur's fine.
Abathur.
And then Alarak, and I think probably Stukov after that. And then
Stukov's
Swann.
Yes, I'd say probably Swann, Nova, Phoenix.
Yeah.
Nova, Phoenix. All right. Who is top of A?
Kerrigan, I'd say.
Kerrigan. And then
Ooh, I was
And
going
then
to
that's good.
say Vorazun.
Vorazun?
Really?
Yeah, I think her ability to time stop, etc., is pretty.
But a mobilization wave doesn't care about vision, you know. Where a time stop,
Yeah,
you do have to. You can't just split them into 3 and 4 groups for the 3rd and 4th sets. You know, you have to actually
I
be
think
looking at the shards.
you've got enough time to do 2 time stops per shard area, though.
That's true,
So,
but
so it kind of doesn't. I mean, I put it this way: I neither are.
if you want to take 20, 30 minutes to do the mission, I
yeah,
guess, yeah.
depends how much patience you've got, rather than anything else. Yeah.
It's like the Zagara winning with the same strategy as Abathur in a quarter of the time or whatever. You know, it's like, well, that's probably worthy of some consideration. I'm fine with either.
I don't mind.
Okay.
Vorazun doesn't get to be above Kerrigan much, so that's fine. We can do that. And then Artanis at the bottom, obviously.
Okay.
And then I think strike fighter platforms put Han and Horner above Raynor.
Slightly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably right.
Yeah. Raynor scans. Yes, they are nice, but they will cost you income. Just sad.
And you're spending minerals on the candy dish or defenses for the candy dish. So you're
slightly less useful.
Want to waste scans.
That being said, I probably would really appreciate the Raynor ally on the solo queue. If nothing else, but the scans are just a big quality of life improvement. But
That's
if I'm
true.
playing, if I'm playing, I'll pick any of the other guys. But if I were to pick my ally, Raynor all day. they can't resist the urge to scan.
There is the perennial concern, though, about anyone on the solo queue that you encounter who deliberately decides to play, or even maybe not deliberately decides to play, the worst commander of the week.
No.
Yeah.
I
look forward to the
I think a lot of people unironically think. I think a lot of people unironically think Raynor is S tier because of the scan. I'm actually ready for the comments. At least one person will mention that Raynor should be S tier because of scans. He can literally negate the mutation. Oh, something I forgot to mention. You guys should play with medium shaders or lower for this particular mutation, because medium shaders or lower will disable the Afraid of Dark for Fog of War. You will see terrain on the Fog of War if you have medium shaders or lower. So Afraid of Dark, yes, you will still not. The units will still disappear from the vision, but the terrain will remain. The terrain, you can at least have a better orientation of where you are on the map, because you can see the terrain. It's such a huge deal. You will see Fog of War in terrain if you have medium shaders or lower. So that's my life pro tip for this week. Thank you. Also, one more thing. I should probably start reclassifying my videos, my tier list videos, into educational rather than entertainment, because this week we've added Egress, which I know is a mission name in the Overmind campaign of StarCraft 1, but it does not get mentioned outside of that. And also, there's another word here. Delineate. Yes. I feel I got 3 whole IQ points based off of that alone. Oh my god, I'm feeling the smartness creeping in.
You need to get us all whiteboards for.
Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea of what else you do, please leave it in a comment. I will see you guys next time.